Great to have you with us. Before we sort of look back on the result for Liverpool yesterday, to the news then that Cody Gakpo is on his way to Anfield, what's your reaction to that? Is he a very much needed player at Liverpool?
Yeah, very much so. I think they needed a player like him for the last 1 or 2 years. I don't think they have enough of a goal threat from midfield. If you look at the players who've been there the last few years, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Keita, Thiago, all very similar player, technically gifted, but they hardly score. And I think he showed in the World Cup that he can score and take a bit of pressure off the forward line.
Didi, look, it's very rare you see a player of his side be so gifted, because you look at him, he's like 6'4". You know, a huge physical man. And like you said, his versatility is you can play him in a number of positions.
Yes, that's right. And we saw yesterday that they are always a threat from set pieces, Liverpool. I think that'll be strengthened with his size and physicality now. And also in midfield, you know, at times I just feel they lack a bit of physicality, because if Henderson doesn't play apart from Fabinho, there's not really a player who's got the physicality that he's got. And if you look at other teams, you know, I always look at Joe Linton as a player, the mold Liverpool needed, because he can drive from midfield, he can head the ball, very good technically, and he's got a bit of pace about him as well. So I think he's a great addition, and I hope we see I hope we see a lot of him in the next few weeks and months.
Would you think that would rule out Bellingham? Or do you think Liverpool will go again in that midfield area of adding more goals, more physical pressure on the opposition?
Well, I'd be careful with Bellingham right now. He's an exceptional talent. I think he showed it in the World Cup. But if Dortmund ask for 140, 150 million, it's a big risk as well, because I think with Bellingham, he's got to find a position. You know, I think he models himself on Steven Gerrard. I don't think he's got the ability and the pace going forward like Gerrard has. So I think you need to wait and see where he finds his spot in the midfield 2 or midfield 3 in the future. So, and to pay 150 million for an 18 or 19-year-old, I think is a big risk. You know, I like the idea of Gakpo, and if they can bring maybe one more in the summer, that should do.
Does that also suggest there'll be some outgoings in the forward line options, do you think, if they're bringing in Gakpo? I know you said that they need him, but do you think we might see someone like a Firmino, for example, leaving?
Well, Firmino's done well, and hopefully he's back soon. He's done well this season. I look more at Oxlade-Chamberlain and Keita. Oxlade-Chamberlain done okay. He hasn't played for a while. I think he's done okay yesterday. I'm very surprised that they talk about Keita maybe extending his contract, because I think he's been a big disappointment since he's come to Liverpool. So, yeah, if you do bring players in, I would think there might be 1 or 2 going in the same breath. You've got to say, if you look at the bench yesterday, I think there were 3 teenagers. There wasn't an awful lot left.
Yeah.
Talking of the match, you mentioned yesterday at Villa Park, it resembled for me far more the Liverpool that we knew last season, their performance and our dynamic, and there was a lot of really good performances. Andy Robertson at left back was terrific as well.
Yeah, first half was brilliant. You know, it looked like they had one more player on the pitch. Villa couldn't handle them. Probably should have been more than 2 up, and it nearly cost them again in the second half, because Villa had a good spell for 20-25 minutes, but they stood tall, they stood up to the pressure, and then to bring a teenage on in Basic with 10 minutes to go when the game is still in the balance is a huge vote of confidence. To take your captain off, Henderson, Basic comes on, he scores a couple of minutes later. Perfect ending to a great night.
And what about top 4 then? Is that still realistic for Liverpool?
Well, I think it's realistic. I think it's more realistic than it was 8 or 9 weeks ago when the gap was bigger. They picked up a lot of points. I think the game's coming up now. They don't play anyone out of the top 6, I think, in the next few weeks. But the way Arsenal is going, the way Newcastle is going, you might be competing with 3 or 4 teams for one place. Because if you ask me now, I think Arsenal, City and Newcastle will finish in the top 3. So you've got a 4 or a 5 horse race, which you have to win to get in the Champions League. But when the players come back, Gakpo coming in, hopefully Diaz and Jota are back in due time, I think they've got a chance, but it won't be easy.
So just to confirm again, Didi, you think Gakpo will play the midfield role as an attacking midfielder more than a natural forward?
I'd say so. Well, he might play a few games there now. In the meantime, till Jota and Diaz are back.
Yeah.
But I think he's better when he drives from midfield when he's got a game ahead of him, and when he comes with these late runs. So I think he's probably more of an option from midfield because that's where they need goals. Because at the moment, if the fullbacks don't score or the forward line, the three forwards don't score, they don't get any goals from anywhere else.
To talk about other forward options for Liverpool, Darwin Núñez, obviously this is his first season playing for them. Perhaps, I mean, he's done pretty well, actually. The problem is everyone's comparing him to Erling Haaland and the start that he's made as a newcomer into this league. Yesterday, he obviously didn't get on the score sheet, but still very influential, still lots to come from this relatively young Premier League striker.
No, he is. And I love watching him because he leaves his heart and soul out there. And, I can't see him not score because of his pace, because of his size. He's lightning quick. I've rarely seen a player that height. Cass spoke before about Gakpo. Yeah. He must be 6'4", and he's probably the quickest player on the pitch. He maybe has to work a little bit harder for his chances than Haaland. Maybe that's the reason he misses a few more than Haaland does. But he gets his chances. I would be worried if he doesn't get these chances. The way he sets the last goal up yesterday was exceptional to bring the ball down and keep it in play. The only thing he lacks, I think, is a bit of composure. And somebody maybe just has to say to him, if you sprint 60 yards and miss it, all the effort, all the hard work is for nothing. But I think he'll come good. Because it's just too good a play, I think, to not score.
I just feel, and Ray Houghton was on the radio with me and Natalie at the weekend, and he talked about trying to slow him down a bit because sometimes you have players, and I felt Timo Werner was a little bit at times like you have to think, slow him down slightly, and then that composure can take over where he can become a better finisher.
Well, Kaz, you know better than me. I'm not sure how or if you can. I'm sure you can coach it, and I'm sure you can improve him in that department. But as you said, sometimes maybe the little step and maybe another breather before he finishes, because he's so quick, he gets away from players, and he's got that half second to maybe slow himself down to get his shot off. But then we shouldn't forget that a lot of his chances, he sprints 40, 50 yards. And as you know, sometimes, concentration and maybe the energy levels are not the same as if you get a tap in. So if he brings that part of his game at the same level as some other finishers, I don't think he's a natural finisher as some of the players we've seen for Liverpool. But the chances he must be getting the most chances any Liverpool forward has had in the last 10 or 20 years. If he improves his finishing, I think he'll be a huge player for Liverpool.
Just lastly, I just want to ask you a question. We just had a tweet in from Stefan. I hope you don't mind me asking this for you. He's asking, why do you think Gakpo is a midfielder when he's clearly a wide player, a Mane-type replacement? That's what somebody's asking you, Didi. Is that because of how you think he plays for the Netherlands? He sometimes plays in that more of attacking midfield number 10 role?
Yeah, well, I don't see him as a winger. I think he can play there. But I think, I've not seen too many wingers 6'4" playing out on the wing. I think don't want to say he's wasted out on the wing, but I think you saw his finishing skills in the World Cup. And I think the more central he plays, I think the more important he will be for Liverpool. And if you play with a centre forward, whether it's Núñez, whether it's Firmino, if he just plays off that player, I think he'll probably be at his most effective.
Brilliant. Just wanted to ask that, just so that Stefan understood why you were saying that, Didi. Thank you so much for being with us, Didi. It's great to chat to you this morning.
Cheers,
pleasure.
Didi.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. See you again. Bye-bye.
Have a good new year as well. Didi Hamann there joining us. And Liverpool's the next game, by the way. Go on, Cass.
Do you remember him coming on in 2005? Champions League final.
Yeah, it's not a bad
3-0 down.
And to be involved in one of the most exciting Champions League finals, I know, unbelievable. Yeah. Liverpool's next game, by the way, is against Leicester, which is on Friday, and it's live on talkSPORT.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.